have a lack of water and resources needed to effectively push back these fires, all right? And to them, we salute them all. But 30% of the firefighters holding the line are incarcerated prisoners. Now, these firefighters are being paid a whopping $1 an hour. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about a person who wants to make amends, to say that they're sorry. And to them, I will say, hey, look, they deserve a second chance. And my goodness, think about what they have sacrificed and put on the line here. I view them with the utmost respect. Now, of course, they're probably doing this to want to, you know, make sure their sentencing is cut off, but also for the fact of maybe it's a chance to do right after doing wrong. But Americans are starting to speak out. Hell, you even got people like Kim Kardashian saying they should be paid more than just $1 an hour. You know, you have recently, and while I might have my differences with him, you got Hassan Piker reaching out and speaking to these firefighters on the front line. You got everybody looking at these firefighters, and people are wondering, well, wait a minute, where is their respect? Where's their dignity? So I want to pull up this video here. Well, before we pull up this video here, I have two articles. One from our friends at BSDNC. I know, don't worry, it's corporate media. They're gonna try and spin a positive light on it, even though let's be clear on it. The program is insulting, and for a long time, these firefighters who were prisoners could not apply to become firefighters because there was a system and rules put in place to prevent them from doing so. I think there was a person who kind of also signed off on that, allowed it to continue on. If anybody knows the name, please type it in the comment section below and let us know who do you think I'm referencing here? Who do you think I am? But let's go ahead and pull up this video here and address this problem, because these firefighters are heroes, especially these incarcerated men and women who are on the front line.
Multi-million-dollar homes. There are some very important people on the fire lines who are finally getting to share their voice as well, in part thanks to a pretty big Twitch streamer, Hassan Piker. You might have already seen shots of inmates out there on the fire lines. Right now, there are like 900 to 1,000 of them. It's a program that's been around for a while here in California, but what is catching people's attention, well, part of it is the pay. It's like $10 a day. They can earn a little bit more when actively fighting fires, an additional $1 an hour during emergencies, and working in that program can also get them some time off their sentence and for some record expungement. But joining us now is Twitch streamer and YouTuber Hassan Piker. He lives out here.
Now, I know this is Hassan. Bear with me, folks. At this point, look, if it's there to help out, if there are people out there pushing to help out the firefighters, so be it. I am okay with this. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of Hassan, but at least if attention is being brought to this, okay, folks, then let's make sure that these firefighters who are prisoners are given a second chance. If they want to redeem themselves and contribute to society, then fine. But they deserve protection because, by the way, when these firefighters are out there on the front line, they're being exposed to dangerous chemicals and smoke that will impact their health further on down the road.
In LA, he headed out to where they've been staging, help shed some light on what they do to help the rest of us out here. Hassan, thanks so much for being with you. But before we get into this, I do want to play a clip of this interview for viewers. It was a fascinating interview. I think you talked to a man by the name of Williams. Let's take a quick look.
Right now they're on break, right? They're doing 24 hours off. But when you're back out there, you sleep out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So they give you like what? Like they give you gear and then they give you like sleeping gear.
Pretty much what you got right here. And then you got your Nomex on, your Nomex shirt on.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all.
They don't give you any sleeping gear?
No, not on the mountain.
And Hassan, we've been with inmate crews. I've never seen them give such insight as they did with you. If you get a chance, anybody that's watching, they should check out your whole clip. What was your impression of what it's like for them and the work that they're doing right
now? I had an incredible opportunity to be able to talk to these guys directly, uninterrupted. in a very real setting when they were on their 24-hour break. Because of the wonderful work that Scott Budnick, he's a Hollywood producer, and he started the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, is doing specifically with the incarcerated firefighters. And in that process, I found their experience to
Okay, see, this is where my audience is so brutal. There are a couple people saying, "All right, let's go ahead and jump us on." No, don't do that. Don't do that. But attention has to be given to these firefighters, okay? Many of them, these incarcerated prisoners, have done some serious time, serious crimes. But when you have them holding the line and putting out these dangerous wildfires, I mean, bounds of reason here, compensation and proper payment is necessary. So this is probably, and again, look, well, I think we all know about the big Twitch streamers, how they try to do stuff in real life, because when Hassan was there, he was able to get a clear signal, which is odd because, anyone trying to do live streaming, especially in a lot of areas where there's going to be, a lack of internet connection, it does raise a few question marks and raised eyebrows. But if attention's being given so these firefighters can get maybe an additional boost of some benefits, so be it. If they're given a chance to re-enter society, so be it. I'm all for that. As for Hassan himself, don't worry, he's safe in his $1 million mansion.
to be very dignified from their own assessment. The fact that they were able to contribute back to their communities was something that they truly appreciated in terms of the opportunity. Although the conditions are still obviously very grim. And one of the major things that they brought up was, of course, the wages, as you guys also pointed out to. Right now, I believe it's around $24 a day when they're actively fighting wildfires. And I think that is one area that desperately needs improvement. Another thing that I was also shocked by was the fact that in order to be able to volunteer for this program, you actually leave prison and go to a conservation camp to get training, and then you remain there when you're not actively out in the field fighting fires. And one thing that they mentioned were the comparably much.
The world is on fire. How did Pecker, I see what you got, is on Pecker, get to the location? It is questionable, almost seems very set up. So, yes, it's always optics, always trying to set things up, make it look nice. Should he have gone over there to the main front lines? I mean, these guys, again, are on a 24-hour break. It just all seems very convenient, but attention's being given. By the way, horrible time to pause, Piker.
Much more humane conditions at conservation camps. Some of the inmates reported that they had access to weight training facilities and like actual real weights. Apparently, in California prisons, you don't have access to real weights any longer. And little things like that, I think, go a very long way in making inmates feel human again, and making inmates feel like real people rather than cogs in a machine. And I think that is tremendously helpful in rehabilitation and the rehabilitative process, and also helping them reintegrate back into society after they're done serving their time.
Yeah, one of the most fascinating parts of the interview, I thought, was when you started to ask them about what this was like compared to what it's like in lockup. If we have some of that, can we?
Well, gee, I don't know. Being in prison kind of sucks. That's a dumb question. Being in prison sucks. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. All right. A lot of those guys are in that program so they can have their sentencing reduced, because it probably is very scary in prison. Oh, I don't know. After watching so many TV shows and movies, I think we all can agree. Oh, Jesus Christ, I need to get out of here.
Play a little quick clip there.
Is it better than being in prison or no?
It's way better, because I was in a prison yard. I'm seeing guys get stabbed, get jumped, get beat up. The cops treat us like But here, we get better treatment, right? They talk to us like humans. They talk to us like humans. We got a job. We're underpaid, but we got a job. Yeah. You feel me? And then the community comes out and shows us all kinds of love.
Kit was scared straight. Hey, listen. Young impressionable Kit Cabello remembers the days of Jenny Jones and Maury Povich when they have those drill instructors yell at those kids. When I was a young boy, and everyone better not be asking a question. Geez, Kit, your family lets you watch those shows when you were a kid? Sometimes, you know what? Let's just say it made me realize, I don't want somebody yelling at my face or threatening to put me in jail. So I just better be a good boy. And I was a good kid.
We never received that growing up. We never received that kind of love, that kind of recognition, or anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life changing.
Yeah, we never received that growing up. I mean, like, again, this.
Let's see, Master. By the way, did that guy say we didn't receive that growing up? Hold on, I'm going to rewind that. Mastermind Hour. In California prison, you get to choose between which pole you get to slide down. He ain't wrong there. Let's rewind that. What'd you say? I swear to God, did he say? Hold on, wait.
Anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life changing.
Yeah, we never received that growing up. I mean, like.
You never received that growing. Yeah, I know. Hold on. Wait, what? Audience, chip in here for a second. Did you hear that properly?
Yeah, we never received that growing up. I mean, like.
We never received that growing up. You never received that. Well, wait, you never received love growing up? One more time.
Or anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life changing.
Yeah, we never received that growing up. I mean, like.
Oh, boy, that's like a Freudian slip right there. Maybe he's never been loved. I hope I heard that right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Internet. Now's the time. Like, Kit made a mistake, but. Oh, boy. Okay.
Again, this interview is absolutely fascinating. Do you think it's working?
I think the incarcerated firefighter program is pretty successful in terms of finding a lot of the people that are slated for rehabilitation, and it seemingly has been very successful as far as what they have reported. Another thing that they kept repeating over and over again was the fact that inside of the camp structure, there's a lot more unity. There's no racial tension or animosity of the sort. There's no violence, because they desperately do not want to go back to the regular prison structure, as Kimbo also pointed out right there, because there's a lot of violence in regular prison. And I think that it is not only an example of the success of the program itself, but I think it's also a criticism of the current carceral state in a state like California, where the prison structure needs desperate reform.
Okay. Now, he's talking about prison structure and reform. So this is where Hassan loses me, because there was a person named Kamala Harris who played a very significant role in extended times of a lot of prisoners in the great state of California. It's the same Kamala Harris that Hassan said was doing, who could easily beat Trump. Remember that? I want to pull up this article here. Tara Reid, shout out to her from RT, just a trigger to libs. Because, after sitting through NBC, we deserve to have our palates cleansed just a little bit. And again, if you're watching right now, please share this, because we got to, make sure to remember that there are people who should be held accountable. All right. There are heroes and there are also villains. The catastrophic wildfires raging across Southern California have brought widespread devastation, but also incredible stories of heroism. As a human and animal rights rescue showcase the bravery of citizens and the resilience of communities. Questions arise about the roles of California Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and the wildfire prevention response. The devastation and heroism. So the Palisades and Eden fires have ravaged more than 27,000 acres. 10,000 buildings gone, folks, and 180,000 people displaced. At least, don't worry, the number will keep on rising up. And the loss of lives, at least as it stands right now, tends to be 42 lives lost. that number will rise up. These numbers highlight the immense human and environmental toll. Amidst the chaos, tales of heroism emerge. For example, in the Pacific Palisades, 83-year-old Parkinson patient Aaron Sampson narrowly escaped the flames thanks to quick thinking and bravery of his son-in-law and neighbors. Okay, volunteers evacuated 90 residents from the senior care facility as the flames closed in. My goodness, that's real heroism right there. Leadership failures. Let's talk about these leadership failures. And this is something that every single politician in California needs to be held accountable for, especially Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass. While these acts of bravery unfolded, critics point to the systematic failures at the leadership level. Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass have faced mounting criticism for decisions that they have exacerbated the wildfire crisis. Absolutely, they have. In 2020, Governor Newsom reduced the state's wildfire prevention budget by $150 million, and reports revealed that the actual fire prevention efforts were significantly below publicly stated targets. Mayor Bass has also come under scrutiny for a $17.6 million budget cut to the Los Angeles Fire Department. I would never do that because California is known for wildfires, impacting the department's emergency response capabilities. During the fires, Mayor Bass was on a diplomatic trip to Ghana as part of a Biden delegation, sparking outrage over her absence despite days of warnings about the unprecedented winds increasing fire risk. So this is the crisis, not to mention insurance crisis. Never forget, folks, never forget, State Farm, like a good neighbor, they're not there. And here's something that Tara Reid even mentions. The crisis has been compounded by insurance companies dropping fire coverage for residents in high-risk areas. Months before the fires, many Los Angeles homeowners received notes that their fire insurance policies were being canceled or not renewed. Insurers have cited the increased frequency and severity of the wildfires as reasons for deeming many areas uninsurable. In the mid-90s, I worked for a California state senator, another Willie Brown protege like Newsom. Fraudulent practices with fire and earthquake insurance were a problem back then, and they are worse now, having been left unchecked. The insurance groups have lobbied both political parties very hard to not hold them accountable for fraudulent practices, and they succeeded. Without fire coverage, families face the prospect of financial ruin, unable to rebuild their homes and communities. This left thousands of Californians vulnerable to not only the immediate dangers of the flames, but also long-term economic hardship. All of this lies at the doorstep of Governor Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. All the while, I don't see them really doing anything except trying to do damage control. But what I do see is firefighters and incarcerated prisoners who are firefighters holding the line. Now, to these incarcerated prisoners, they do deserve a second chance. They do deserve some dignity and respect. And I think it's important that as we progress forward, it must be reminded to everyone that there will be another wildfire. You know, for a long time, we've seen these wildfires get out of hand. Who remembers 2020 when all of California looked like a war zone because of those dangerous wildfires? Nothing was learned then for years, and nothing's going to be learned now. But if we don't step up, it's going to get worse. It's up to us to hold these leaders accountable. And we need to stand for each other. Now, I, for one, am in full support of these firefighters getting some kind of dignity, respect, making sure that they have, again, long-term plans to cover their health, because once exposed to these dangerous chemicals and smokes and other dangerous materials, it's going to affect them. It is abundantly clear that's what's going to happen. And many of these prisoners, when they do get out, have nothing waiting for them. They should be given the opportunity to become firefighters themselves, if need be. We have to be better here. Now, for all the people talking about this Hassan Piker, not a fan of him. I think this is all for show. I do call into question how he did get access to those firefighters that he was speaking to. But nonetheless, if word is getting out, then it is our responsibility to also share this as well. They're people, they're humans. And the thing is, what concerns me is that most of these fires are still being battled against. Are they holding the line? Yes, but they're working with nothing. Empty reservoirs, lack of working fire hydrants. Who's to blame for this crisis? It's the leaders.